Igniting, inspiring, and evoking the fire within.
It's also what it took to get there. That hard work, that determination, that culmination of everything coming together, whether it be professionally, whether that be personally, whether that be working through marital troubles, working through hard times in your life, going through depression, going through anxiety, going through not knowing what you want to be in life, and really finding your niche and really finding what makes you happy.
You're listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Foxfire.
Hello and welcome to episode 53 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Today, he's on, former student, an NC State Wolfpack alum, a Yankees fan, an avid baseball fan, and a junkie, and he's pursuing an MBA at Syracuse University. He is Michael Brueno. Michael, how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Coach?
Better than I deserve. Now I start off all of these, and certainly in these times, I'm better than I deserve. Let's get right into it. Okay, now you are a graduate at Whippany Park High School, and I taught you as a freshman. Graduated in 2010. Is that correct?
Correct.
That is correct. So it is 2020. It is 10 years later.
Don't remind me.
I'm sorry. I'm close to 25 out of high school. So
you know what? I'm getting closer to 30 than I am 20, and I try not to think about that every day.
Just a number. Do you have any? Does your class have any plans for a reunion this year?
Not that I've heard. You know what I have to say? Specifically, my class, my group of friends, the people that I associated with, we're all kind of around here. We all, the foursome that I golf with, we're all my friends from high school. The people that I see when I go out to Jersey City, Morristown, whatever it may be, all, people I see in the gym, all my friends that I graduated with. So I have to say I'm blessed to have everyone that I went to high school with still around, and I still see everyone.
That's cool. And so essentially, you have a reunion every day when you go out around town.
Pretty much. That's Whippany for you.
There's no need. So it's 2020. You graduated 10 years ago. Do you still own any Whippany Park gear?
Ooh, yes. I own, and I still kept, it was winter track, the state sectional championship t-shirt, still in the bottom of my drawer.
That's awesome.
We went to the town hall, and they gave us t-shirts for winning the state sectional championship. So I still have that t-shirt.
So you're coached by the Brad Callahan, correct?
I was coached by the one and only.
The Brad Callahan. And let me tell you something. It's been 10 years since you graduated high school. He has not aged a single day.
Okay. Good.
He's Whippany Park's version of Benjamin Button, just to let you know. Now, the next question is: you graduated at NC State in 2014. Correct. Okay. How often do you wear Wolfpack apparel?
I just took off my NC State sweatshirt about 5 minutes ago. You know what? I have to say, I went into NC State and I was 125 pounds soaking wet. I came out of NC State about 170 pounds soaking wet. Now I'm up near 190, 195. So a lot of the clothes don't fit, but I keep ordering more. So they keep getting my money for new sweatshirts. So I wear them quite often.
So you are a product of the Krispy Kreme challenge.
All the way right here.
And we'll get into that later in the interview. But to get a little bit more serious here, you have a biology degree from NC State, correct?
Correct. Human biology.
Human biology degree from NC State. You're currently, as I said, working in the pharmaceutical industry. I didn't say that, but I did now. Working in the pharmaceutical industry. So with COVID-19 happening right now, this pandemic, with you in your job, what's it been like working last 2 months, and where do you see the world 2 months from now?
Well, personally working, it's been tough. Um, Thankfully, I'm in a microbiology lab. So our cleaning procedures are above and beyond as it is. So, even going in before this all happened, we were wearing appropriate PPE, so, protective personal equipment. Um, we still clean down everything, the walls, the benches, the floors, everything gets cleaned from head to toe. But now it's a little bit weird because we're doing the same measures in the cafeteria, in the office, in the bathroom, cleaning everything, wearing masks and gloves, and makes it a little bit more difficult. But I have to say, personally, we've gotten, I do a lot of antibiotic testing. So we've got an influx of work, but you know what? As much as it's tough getting that much more work, it gives me solace in the fact that I know people are working on this and I know people want to get this done. I try not to think about the fact that these companies, is the first person that gets a vaccine is going to get a blank check from the government, and they know that. But I like to think of it as everyone wants the world to get better. So
That's a good perspective. That's a good perspective. You want some kind of return to normalcy, whatever it takes. It seems like it was your company that really started things up. I understand.
Well, it's that word normalcy. I think it's going to have a brand new definition when this is all over.
Yes, it's going to be a new normal. I mean, I'm saying that, understanding that there's going to be a brand new normal.
I don't think we know what the new normal is going to be.
I agree.
I have to say, I think that it is going to entice a lot of people to be cleaner, to disinfect more. You see the people at the gym, they have the signs all over, wipe down the equipment. Maybe people will start to listen to those signs and wipe down their equipment when they're done. People, may think twice about going to a crowded restaurant, a crowded bar. We'll see. I think people, I see what's going on in Georgia now. They opened up a little too soon. They're getting an influx of new COVID cases. So I don't know if 2 months we're going to be back to our new normal, or whether we're going to be in this for the whole summer. So
just wanted to get your opinion, and I don't know either. I quote Dr. Martin Luther King. I think he said, "Faith is trying to get to the top of the stairs without being able to see the next step." And we can see the next step, but not very much beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I think us as people who are not on those, in those labs coming up with the vaccines, having the strains, working with them, working with patients on how to cure them, we as the people that are not doing that need to stop adding on to what they have to do.
Yes.
Which means we just have to keep staying healthy, staying safe, staying away from each other. It's one of those where, do we go outside and enjoy ourselves for a little bit of time, but extend the amount of time that we're in this? Or do we wait, suffer through it a little bit longer than we want to, but come out better on the other side?
I think you just answered your own question. You just answered your own question.
Right.
Best thing I can do right there is just shut up.
Yeah, although it's going to be tough. I hear they're opening the golf courses this weekend. I played one round so far this year, played very well, and haven't played since. So I'm antsing to get out there.
I think you answered your own question there. Just sit on that good round for a good 6 months.
That's it. And go into, maybe next season on a high.
Sounds like a plan to me, Mike. Sounds like a plan to me. All right, so we caught up, got your opinion of things going on currently. Now, I brought you on here because you played a role in a film directed by, I'm going to mix up a lot of names here, but main contributors were Donovan Russo, Ryan Lessica, Sebastian Russo. And tell me again the name of the actress in Sparks.
Nid is her
Nid.
name.
Okay, so Nid. So I'm going to read off of this. You were recommended by Donovan Russo, and Donovan's been on 3 episodes of this podcast. I'd call him the Vulture.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, he is. Episode 13, 22, and 34, if you want to look that up, people who are listening and watching. And you played a role in his short film called Sparks. So my question to you is, explain how this relationship between you and Donovan began, and a bit about Sparks and why you are so passionate about it.
Well, a little bit of backstory on me and my love of film. I consider myself an introverted extrovert. So, I do find myself a lot wanting to be home and watch movies. And my college roommate also always used to say that I never liked any movie we watched because I was always so critical of them. But, I am a student of the arts. I love film. I love the intricacies of it. The movies that, my mom calls, the artsy fartsy just for the Oscars film. I love every one of them. So,
what's an example? An example of one that your mother would call artsy fartsy and you just love it. What's an example?
Marriage Story. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And my mom was like, I watched a couple fight and get divorced for 2.5 hours. So, I just love the intricacies of it. I loved Adam Driver in his role. He was phenomenal. Scarlett Johansson played another phenomenal role. So I, in college and a little bit outside of college, I helped a friend of mine work in a few of her films. And I came across Donovan on LinkedIn, watched a few of his films, and opened up some dialogue with him. And he was the most receptive person in terms of my comments, talking about our perspective on things. Finding somebody who you can have great dialogue with and who challenges you mentally is somebody that, you want to value, and they are a, quality person to you. Keeps your mind stimulated, helps you think in a different perspective than how you would normally think. And Donovan is definitely one of those people, or else he wouldn't have been on the podcast 3 times.
Growth mindset guy, and so are you.
Oh, thank you. And so we decided to meet up and, talk about what we see ourselves in the future. And, he's working on his MBA as well. We have that in common. And we met up a few times at Starbucks. And the one day he pitched, for me to go on his website and look at his material. And I read Sparks, and it was originally set in an elevator, and I thought it was fantastic. I loved the interaction between the man and the woman character. I loved the Donovan's favorite word, avant-garde, that abstract nature to it. The fact that each, and even between me and Donovan, I thought that I interpreted it differently than he did, differently than Ryan did, differently than Sebastian did. So I just love that about it. And we met up maybe, 1 or 2 times after that, coming up with ideas, way to tweak it. And then when Ryan and Sebastian joined in, they tweaked the script to where it was fantastic. Between Ryan and Donovan going through 4 or 5, however many takes to get the script perfectly, they absolutely nailed it. It was phenomenal.
How long did filming?
I'm sorry?
How long did filming take?
Long time. 1 whole day.
Okay.
1 whole day. We actually did not meet Nid the co-star, until that morning. We had spoken a few times on the phone, and Donovan came up with the idea of, you know what, let's hop on a train and go pick her up from New York City, and you can get to know each other on the train before you start filming.
No kidding.
So we hopped on a train at about 6:30 in the morning, got into New York City, ran around Penn Station about 6 times before we found her. And, little did we know, and we found out on the train ride back, that she is a star in India. Absolute star. And I am very grateful and thankful to her. The way that she approached things, the way that action and she set, locked, she is this character, I thought was fantastic. And she taught me so much. So we came back, we filmed, and yeah, it was fantastic. And she and I, we got on really well. And one of the best parts about filming in such a small group, small project, was we all played a role. If I said, let's try it this way, everyone was open to ideas. So as much as I acted, I like to think that I had a small part in production. I had a small part in direction. And we all did. Everyone had their say. Nobody really was pinned in on one specific role, one specific job function. And, that speaks to what we all want to do in the future. And coming full circle, going back to, my job, I do a wide variety of tests. I deal with finance, I deal with sales, I deal with quoting, I deal with manufacturing, and, taking those bits and pieces kind of steered me into the direction where I think I want to go. Now, will I be there in 5 years? Will I be even in the field in 5 years? Only time will tell. But in a similar tone, that way with the film, we all kind of got a taste. And, and I think that not only having one person producing, one person directing aided in how well I think the film came out.
There's strength in numbers, right? There's
Absolutely.
strength in numbers. And so I would say that strength in numbers and the benefits of having just an open growth mindset.
Absolutely.
And I've watched Sparks a number of times. It is up on YouTube, and it's the fact that I watched it numerous times, I think speaks to how well it was done, and how well of a job you and Nid did have that. I mean, not that I'm a critic, but you certainly had a tremendous on-screen chemistry. And that's
yeah, it was fantastic. I know it's up on YouTube, Instagram. I know Nid, who, she's the star out of all of us. Thanks to her, I know last I looked, we were 4,500 views already. So we're very proud of that.
I'm going to fire it in the show notes, so hopefully we'll get more views out of that as well.
Absolutely.
Sparks, starring Michael Brueno and Nid Sabaya. I hope I didn't botch your last name, but I took a shot at it right there.
It's as good as I could do.
So, and other contributors were, of course, Donovan Russo, Sebastian Russo, and Ryan Lessica. Is that right? Lessica?
Correct.
So, and we're going to get Ryan hopefully on an episode shortly. I've been in touch with him, so I'm looking forward to that. Michael, take a deep breath. We are now on the bottom half of the show, bottom half of the interview, a game called What, Which, and Where. And you told me you've watched a couple episodes, so you're familiar with the format?
Somewhat.
So I'm going to, thinking about knowing you, thinking about things that you enjoy, I'm going to quote somebody or something, and you tell us from where it came. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right, so here we go. The first quote is someone. It goes like this: surround yourself with good people who are honest with you and look out for your best interests.
Oh boy, who said that?
You said that. Now we're thinking, and we talked about in the beginning, right? You're an avid baseball fan. You're an avid Yankees fan. You are a proud NC State Wolfpack alum.
Now, as soon as you said that, the first thing that popped to mind was Jim Valvano.
That's a great guess. It is not Coach V.
Who do we got?
We've got one more guess on your part.
Surround yourself.
Surround yourself with good people who are honest with you and look out for your best interest. He's a Major League Baseball player. He was drafted the very year that you were born.
Derek Jeter.
It's Derek Jeter. Okay. Do you have any Derek Jeter stories growing up from watching him play?
I mean, aside from the millions of clips that I've seen.
What's your favorite clip, favorite memory of him? Favorite play? At that.
You know what? Has to be the diving into the stands play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? He was a player that played 100% all the time. And he assumed the risk and he went anyway. And, that takes courage. That takes, a little stupidity. But, that just, I'm going to win this no matter what. And hey, that's a great mindset to have, whether it's I'm going to get this job no matter what. I'm going to close the sale no matter what. I'm going to cure coronavirus no matter what. Whatever it may be, what a mindset to have.
He's an extreme competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So from one extreme competitor to another, the next quote goes like this. I'm like, who said it? It goes like this. A person doesn't become, I can't even read my writing. A person does not become whole, okay, until they are part of something bigger than themselves.
Now, is that Jim Valvano?
That is Coach V.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know how many times you've seen the SB speech. Couldn't even count.
It's probably in the hundreds. Yeah, it's probably in the hundreds.
Yeah. Oh, that. And you know what? Just looking up his other speeches, which they do show bits and pieces of in Survive in Advance, were all fantastic as well. What a speaker. What an orator.
Gifted. Yeah. And we spoke about this before the podcast. So my college baseball coach, Ray Tanner, currently the athletic director at South Carolina right now, is a proud disciple of Coach Valvano. So when he was a baseball player at NC State, speaking of Coach Tanner, and then was coaching at NC State, Coach V was obviously the men's basketball coach and moved into the athletic director's role during his time.
Right.
And I guess I'm sure you may know this story too. He was a real, Coach V, a go-getter. So whenever he saw someone doing something that was difficult and he thought he could do it, he would go after it. So Coach Tanner told me this story about how they were watching the news one night, a sportscast, and Coach V said, I'm going to try that, like tomorrow. And wouldn't you know, in the next couple of days, Coach V was doing some commentary on a local sports broadcast, like the evening news type of thing. And Coach V, and I think you know this, huge Yankees fan. Huge.
Yeah, he was born in New York, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Correct.
You know what? I really just love the fact, and it gives me chills just thinking about them in the gym before the season started, practicing cutting down the net and just saying, you know what? Taking a full circle back to Derek Jeter, we're going to win. I don't care how we get there. I don't care how we do it. And they did it in a very unorthodox fashion, but we're going to do it. So let's start practicing the best part. Let's envision ourselves doing this and let's get there. I don't care how, I don't care when, I don't care who, we're getting there.
Your belief at the beginning of any undertaking is the one thing that ensures successful outcome of the venture. So that's not me, that's Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positive Thinking. And I don't know, Coach V was a reader. I don't know if he read that, but I'm sure Something like that is within his mind. But awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Remember Thurl Bailey in Survive in Advance, he commented on that. Who does that?
Right.
Coach B. Pretty awesome. I would have liked to have met the man. I really would have.
I'm sure one conversation with him and you'd be running through a brick wall.
He'd be changed. And I'd probably fall in the other direction, but it's beside the point. So carrying on with your Wolfpack experience, share a little bit of advice for those current NC State students who are about to run in their first Krispy Kreme challenge.
Well, a few pieces of advice. First of all, it's a 5K. As soon as they shoot the gun, don't sprint like I did. Everyone is so excited. It's freezing cold. It's 6:00 in the morning. And anybody who knows me knows that I am miserable before about 10 and 2 cups of coffee. So it's 6:00 in the morning. As soon as that gun goes off, you're like, I got to get moving. I got to wake up. I got to go. And you know what? It's 2.5 kilometers to the Krispy Kreme, 2.5 kilometers back to the bell tower. And so getting there, not too terribly difficult. You're chugging along. You're just anxiously awaiting the Krispy Kremes. When you get there, what I did, they're so light and fluffy, those Krispy Kreme donuts. You take about 4 of them, 5 of them, and you squish them into one. Now, the people who don't know the details of the Krispy Kreme challenge, it's a 5K. You run from the bell tower in NC State to the Krispy Kreme store where they make the donuts. You eat a dozen donuts and you run back. It's a whole big event. You raise money. And you take about 4 or 5 donuts and you squish them into one, and they're so light and fluffy. It's about the consistency of a donut. So, you take down 12 donuts, the equivalent of about 3 or 4. And then it starts to hit you about at, kilometer 4, and you just try not to hurl the last kilometer.
Great description. Now I wanted to ask you a couple of things. Do you remember your finishing time? When you ran? How many times did you run it? And maybe your first time, do you recall?
Just once, and I don't remember. I remember wanting to. Now, I remember the time that I ran it, it was drizzling. It was freezing cold. And as soon as it was over, I wanted to go back in bed, go to the bathroom. Not in that order. So I remember finishing and saying, this was fun. I'll be in bed.
Because it was obviously not, was it 10 a.m. yet when you finished?
Oh, I'm not that slow, Coach.
When does it start in the morning? What is it? Like 8 o'clock?
Gun goes off. To be honest, I don't remember. Couldn't have been later than 8 o'clock.
Okay. Now, that day that you ran, do you recall eating after you ate the donuts at some point during the day?
At some point during the day, whether it be dinner or I don't remember when it was, but like I said, it's the equivalent of about 3 or 4 donuts. Okay. Which still, you're getting 3 or 4 donuts and you're running 5 kilometers. It's, gonna make your stomach turn, but still. Now, you know what I have to say? Maybe this is advice to NC State students as a whole. I was the only person I knew that had a meal plan all 4 years. Everyone's like, oh, the dining hall food, but I loved it. Now, maybe it added to the fact that I did not want to cook or clean. That might have helped me enjoy it a little bit more, but I loved it. And there was a Chick-fil-A on campus. So,
yes, sir.
You know what? Now that Chick-fil-A is becoming big up north, I have just a very, because I had it for 4 years.
Right.
Probably,
You crushed, and so did I.
probably, yeah, probably 3-4 times a week. So now I'm just like, spicy chicken sandwich. I'll take it or leave it.
Right. You've had your fill. I understand. And like you, I had a meal plan all 4 years of college, and my freshman year, Mike, I was on a 21 meal a week meal plan. So everyone had it covered.
Okay.
Everyone had it covered freshman year.
Oh, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Absolutely.
Yes, I did it. I did it. I rarely ever ate off campus unless I went home and had dinner with my roommate and his family. So
Now, Coach, did you put on the freshman 15?
I don't know where it goes, but I probably went to school at around 120 pounds, and I'm 41 years old. So this is when I graduated I left Carolina in '02. This is 17, 18 years later. I've gained 15 pounds. I'm about 135 pounds right now. So
Okay.
the miracles of spastic CP, muscles shaking my body 24 hours a day. I'm stiff as a board, but I don't gain weight.
Your basal metabolic rate through the roof?
You said it. You're the bio guy. I just call it hypertensive cerebral palsy. But yeah, one of the blessings of it. So I haven't gained much weight over the years. My diet at times has been Krispy Kreme only type things. As Will Ferrell would say, candy canes, candy corns, and syrup. At times.
The 4 food groups.
The 4 food groups from Elf there. All right. Excellent. So we're winding down here. The big question. We all know not all heroes wear a cape. But if you had a chance to take a 1-hour car ride with one of the following 3 people, who would it be and why? Would it be Derek Jeter? Would it be Coach Jim Valvano? Or would it be NC State alum and Washington National shortstop Trey Turner?
Love Derek Jeter. Love Coach V. Probably saw every game that Trey Turner played at NC State. He's another one, Brett Gardner-esque. He goes 100% every time.
That's a good comparison.
As soon as he steps on the field, he's ready to play baseball. And we keep going over the common theme. I'm not going to stop till I win. I'm going to run as fast as I can. I'm going to steal 90 bases a year, and I'm going to score no matter what. But if I had to choose one of those 3, I think it would have to be Coach V. And the reason being, I think that one of my skills, or so I think, is leadership. The common, I don't know if you've seen the graphic between a boss and a leader. A boss is behind telling his people to move forward. A leader is at the front bringing his people with him. And, that's kind of the mantra of any good teacher, any good leader trains the people below him to be better than him. And, obviously you want to have faith, you want to have confidence, you want to motivate the people below you. And I think that I could learn so much from Coach V, coming, with what I want to do personally, in my career professionally. I think that Coach V can, having one car ride with him would, give me a lot to work with on how to motivate people, how to have faith in people. There was that line in Survive and Advance where I don't know if it was one of the sports writers or one of the assistant coaches said he brought in less than qualified people and he had that mantra, I can change them, and I don't care if they're down in the dumps. I don't care if they have bad grades, not motivated. I can change them. I can push them. And in my opinion, to be the best that they can be. you know, and I think that that's great personally, professionally, and, can, benefit not just me, but everyone.
It sounds like you wouldn't let Coach V out of the car.
I probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't.
I don't know if I would either. I have a great explanation and a great choice. So Coach V, 1 hour car ride with him and Mike Brueno. Now, in the end, fill this sentence in, Mike. In the end, it's all about what?
In the end, I have to think about that one. A few words come to mind. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'd like to explain. The first word that came to mind, and I think in all fairness, in all honesty, the first word, in the end, it all comes down to success, was the first word that came to mind. And that could mean different things to different people. Could mean being rich, could mean having a great family life, could be having a good golf game, whatever it may be. But, could it be, the small successes in life, that, you at work, I train people to do certain tasks. Sometimes I'm looking over their shoulder and they're doing it better than me. And I'm like, that's it. That's my success. Or, I can almost guarantee that all of these doctors, nurses, people on the front lines, when they go and they see a patient walk out the door, success. I love, love, love watching those videos of the people who have completed chemo and they ring the bell. Success right there. They fought. And you know what? It's also what it took to get there. That hard work, that determination, that culmination of everything coming together, whether it be professionally, whether that be personally, whether that be working through marital troubles, working through hard times in your life, going through depression, going through anxiety, going through not knowing what you want to be in life, and really finding your niche and really finding what makes you happy. And that is your success. So, personal successes, professional successes, and what it takes to get there. I love the image of the iceberg. I don't know if you've ever seen it, the iceberg. And at the top, it says wealth, success, whatever it may say. And underneath is the giant iceberg underneath the water. Hard work, determination, courage, time spent, all these different being down and out and overcoming everything to get to the top of the iceberg to get that success.
Sure, people have success. It's always a product of practicing things thousands and thousands of times in private. Right?
And that's it. And you know what? Those are the best successes, where you don't tell anyone, I'm working on this. And you know what? Where it's, I don't need people to acknowledge it. I don't need whatever. And, I know that I trained, I practiced, I went through troubles, I studied, whatever it may be applicable to each person's own life, and finding that success. And who cares? You can get accolades, you can get awards or riches or wealth or whatever it may be. But that just feeling inside where it's like, I trained and I did this. I worked hard and I did this. I, went to marriage counseling and we did this and we're happy, or did, whether it be trained for a marathon and completed that. And that internal successful feeling, nothing like it.
Gratification, right? Gratification through fulfillment. Absolutely. I've already kind of explained this, but I wanted to give you another shot. What parting advice do you have for the listeners or people watching? Empty your pockets, in other words.
The most eloquent way I could put this comes full circle, Coach Jim Valvano. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. I've gone through some tough times. I've gone through my trials and tribulations. I don't think that anyone who is a success, whether that be if they feel successful, everyone has tried and failed. Everyone has pushed through some sort of barrier to get to where they want to be. And that separates the winners from the losers, is the people who, when you get knocked down, when you get stopped, do you say, I quit? Or do you say, okay, this is a learning experience and I'm going to go through again? And, it's one of those things. Watching now The Last Dance, everyone saw Michael Jordan. You didn't see the 10,000 shots that he took in his backyard. He didn't give up. He lost game 1 to the Celtics in the
86
playoffs.
Talking about, yes.
He came out the next day and scored 63 points.
Yes.
I mean, don't give up and you will get there. Whatever it may be, in the words of the late, great Jim Valvano, don't give up, don't ever give up.
I like it. The very tenacious Michael Brueno here on episode 53 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Mike, how can people get in touch with you if they want to reach out and get in contact with you?
Probably either LinkedIn would probably be LinkedIn, email would be the best way to contact me.
So just spell your last name.
Brueno. 9 out of 10 people will get that wrong.
Okay. That's why I would advise you would do that. Very good. Very good. Hey, Mike, this has been spectacular. It's been great to reconnect with you after all of these years. It's not something I expected, but it's been a nice respite for me and reward during this time. So thank you very much. From your NC State stories to your golfing stories, and sharing just very relevant advice, especially during this time. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on, Coach.
It's been my pleasure. This will wrap up episode 53 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Michael and I will talk at you all later. Take good care.
You have been listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Buyer, because impact on each other is the greatest currency you could ever have.